Hi everyone, greetings, this is Chris. First is, I just want to say I'm very appreciative of all the private messages that I've been receiving of encouragement and support. In episode 4, I just wanted to share and clarify this mystique about mental unwellness. In my case, and I speak from my own journey and my own experience and reflections of what I went through. And I know most times, most of you who send me messages of getting well and giving messages like, for example, hope you are recovering and feeling better by the day and have a safe recovery. Again, very well intentioned. And what I want to clarify here is this is where people misunderstand this whole notion of what it means to recover from mental unwellness. In the first place, if you know of people who have suffered from mental unwellness, and if they can speak about their experience coherently and in a manner that is emotionally detached, they have already healed. Now, when I say they have already self-healed, what I mean is they no longer suffer from mental dysfunction. But it does not mean that their condition will not come again, because until they are able to unlock or recognize those emotional triggers, people who suffer from mental unwellness could still fall back into that deep pit. And I know for those who have gone through and endured this condition, you know what I'm talking about. It will hit you gradually, it will hit you suddenly. And oftentimes, because we don't recognize what triggers it, we don't even realize we're back in that condition. But other than that, when I say I have self-healed from mental unwellness, it means all this irrationality is a thing of the past. And how I know I have healed is for a very simple reason. Today, if you are physically unwell, what a doctor does is it will treat your physical symptoms. Similarly, if you see a psychologist or psychiatrist, they will try and treat your apparent mental unwellness. And in that process, what they actually do is only treat the symptoms because they see it as a brain dysfunction. In my own journey of discovery over 8 years, self-healing over 8 years, what I have learned and discovered about myself is discovering that missing link, which is identifying that emotional baggage that you have been carrying that is triggered by a very traumatic event. But more so, in my case, what I realized is my mental unwellness condition happened because of this guilt that I had been carrying after I lost my mom at 14 and not shedding a tear at her death. And so I carried this deep regret, this sense of guilt over 25 years. But what had happened was there was so much that was going on in Afghanistan in 2012 that it created so much stress within my body that it made me go over the cliff. And when you go over the cliff because of the stress, immense stress that your body takes on, what happens then is the brain snaps in irrational ways. But it doesn't snap just like that. It's a very, very gradual build-up process which you would not recognize until you have experienced it before. And then you will realize what had happened. So in my instance, what I also discovered is there is a difference between your conscious mind and your unconscious or subconscious mind. In your conscious mind, you are very clear of the context in which certain things happen and how it impacts you or affects you emotionally. However, when you deal with mental unwellness, it is actually the unconscious mind or subconscious mind not being able to make sense of exactly what is happening to you. And so what happens in your unconscious mind is it sees everything as a continuum. It's a continuous story. It doesn't realize that my mom's death happened when I was 14, and the guilt that I carried was attributable to my mom's death. And the amount of stress that my body took on because of all that happened in Afghanistan were two separate events. In my conscious mind, I am very clear they were two separate events. However, in my unconscious or subconscious mind, it saw both events without context. It only knew how my body was feeling or how I was emotionally taking it in. And because of that, that guilt was eventually tripped by all the stress that forced the convergence or forced, the water to boil over the pot. And so when that happened, the brain became dysfunctional. I became irrational. And I did not know what was going on. And I will continue to do my best to share my story in the right context, in a simple enough to understand language and manner so that more people can relate to it. And through my stories, help you better connect with your own challenges, to seek help that you need, if you need them, and in that process, heal yourself faster and better.